Welcome back. So I'm working on a title for my video game and I looked at a ton of different references. Personally, I like titles that have a lot of detail, that have art in them. By the way, when you search pixel art title and you click on images, does my video pop up? That'd be pretty awesome if it popped up for you as well. So when making a title, you can go the simple route. Like Undertale is pretty simple, but it's got a little bit of personality there with the heart. So I paid an artist to make a title for me. I loved this style. This title was awesome. And I got the artist to do some art for me. If you're an artist, I'm also paying for artists to work on this game with me. And here's some of the original concepts, and you're gonna see where we take this. Let's get started. So I put Bone Razor minions in here just as a reference for a style that I liked, and it's meant to inspire me when I go and touch up the last Phoenix text there in the middle. I loved the style of the title, but I also wanted to make it my own. So I feel good about paying the artist to do this title for me, especially because I'm drawing massive inspirations from a title he did. And if you are an artist and you want to work with me, or you have some ideas, please, dude, come on down to the Sad Slime Discord. There's also a channel there where you can post your own art and get feedback and stuff. But anyway, I hope you noticed that I'm kind of sticking to 3 colors here: green, gold, and red. I think that it's important for every game, every website, project, whatever, to sort of have a, oh my gosh, what's it called? Branding colors. I think that's what people call it. Brand colors. So I'm gonna tell you what each of these colors represent, which is also how I'm drawing them. So with the green, it's meant to be a little bit more organic, and it represents a key story pillar in The Last Phoenix, which is a tree. It's a tree that I don't want to tell you too much about, but the tree gives Felix the goblin, so the green also represents goblins. It gives Felix the power of rebirth. And phoenixes can be reborn and stuff. But so the green is supposed to look a little bit more organic, and I'm gonna make those lines a little bit rounder and stuff. And in contrast, the gold, those lines are gonna be very straight, and they're a little bit more like metallic. It's kind of shiny and stuff like that. And then the red, that's gonna represent blood. In last week's video, I drew the skill tree, and Drawborn Sun recommended I call it the Blood Root, and that is an awesome name. So from now on, the blood tree is Blood Root. This thing in the middle that I'm trying to draw here is kind of an eyeball, and I'm not sure how to go about drawing the eye or what colors I should make it, and I'm just experimenting. I think something really important in pixel art is to not get too committed to what you're drawing. It's important to kind of just do trial and error. Like, try something, see if it looks cool. If it doesn't, try something else. But you don't need to put in all the details to find out if something's working out. Like, I just erased a giant chunk of the design I had there, because experimenting with the design is one of the best ways to improve your artwork instead of just constantly adding in more polish. And this is the stuff that no one sees. I'm so glad I get to show you this, because you don't get to see all the stuff that I removed and erased. With the red, since it's supposed to be kind of like represent blood, I also made it look a little bit more organic, where you can see the lines are kind of bending. It looks kind of veiny, but also it makes for a really nice pattern, a really nice design on that edge there. So parts of this, I kind of wanted it to look like blood is dripping down, kind of like droplets of blood. That's why I have those giant red chunks. And you see how the green surrounds the red? That's because the tree absorbs the blood. So I wanted to kind of look like the green is feeding off of the red. I think for some aspects of any piece of art that you're doing, you don't really need to put a lot of focus on, like the edge, the pattern I have on the edge there and stuff like that. It's not super important. But for things that are going to get the player's attention, like this eye, that's where I need to do all the iterations and detail and make sure that that looks really good. And sometimes I get a little overwhelmed, and I get a little anxiety that I'm not gonna be able to make it look good. And I'm sure this happens to you when you're drawing as well. And it's also why I then go over the art again and again and again. So to feel a little bit better and to relieve myself of the anxiety, I started working on the text, because I was like, you know what, the text is gonna be an easy thing for me to work on. And I like to hop around different parts of my artwork and then go back to stuff that I was working on. And it's a way for me to not spend too much time on one part of the art, because time is limited. You can't spend forever iterating on something. So the good thing about me hopping around is that I progressively make everything look better. Generally, I like the look of the font, but I wanted to make it more legible. I wanted to make some of the letters a little bit bigger. Like for example, the T, it had a cool style to it, but sometimes, like for titles, I think legibility is more important. Same thing with like when I do dialogue in the game, I'm not gonna like use a cool font, because just readability is always very, very important. I think fonts that are really cool and hard to read are fine for maybe like character names or something, or like location names on a map, but not for the title of your game. And spacing the letters out will make it more legible. Making some parts a little bit thicker will make it more legible. And then I also kind of wanted to give things a little bit, a little bit more style, a little bit more flair. So with the eye here, I was thinking about making it kind of look like a candle. I don't know if you thought that too, but whatever. There's a bunch of little details in this title that no one will ever know unless they saw this video. Like the eye in Phoenix is supposed to look like a candle. I think it kind of does, but you could easily miss that. So there I just took half of the font and I made it a tiny bit darker and then put a little dash through it. This is one of the easiest ways to add a little bit of style to your font. And then I went and added an outline, and I was messing around with the outline on all sides, but personally I like outlines just on the bottom. I made it red and it instantly gave me the idea of making blood drips, but I think blood drips is kind of cheesy and cringy, so I instantly stopped doing that. I copy pasted one side to the other, and wow, check it out. You can instantly tell it looks pretty cool. So I'm only working really on one side, because you see that blue line going down the middle? That is mirroring everything I do from one side to the other. It's a cool feature that it's a cool feature in Sprite. It's a pixel art program that I like to use. There's a link in the description if you want to get it, and please use that link, because I get like this tiny little kickback. I'm not sponsored by them. I like the bright red, but also I didn't really want to introduce a new color, so I changed the font to yellow, and it has red on the very bottom. You can barely see it, but basically I think it's just good to have color consistency. It's always like it's what's the word? Good taste, It's having limited colors is just something that I don't know. Yeah. I said yellow, but it's a lot cooler if I say gold. It's gold, baby. I think that fits. Thinking of it as gold is also more fitting for the goblins and stuff, right? I think the top is looking pretty good, but we got to work on the bottom. So for the bottom, I was thinking that I should draw roots, because that eye, that's the kind of like it's almost like a demonic looking eye, I know, but the game is meant to have a creepy, unsettling vibe. So since I'm putting emphasis in the tree in this title, it's obviously going to be kind of like, it's one of the key things in the story, how Felix gets his power, etc. So, but some people might not notice that these are roots or whatever. I'm so happy that you're watching this video, so I could give you these hidden meanings in stuff like the title. Like most people will not notice. I kind of like the circles, and they inspired me to make them look like little roots sticking out of the bottom, if you know what I mean. The roots, they kind of also look almost tentacle like, and I know that this makes the whole thing look kind of creepy and unsettling, but that is what I'm going for. It also makes it look a little bit more like a living organism, like some conscious thing, you know. I don't want the top and the bottom to be completely different, so I did copy the red. So it has, you know, whatever, some consistency from the top and the bottom. Here, the roots, they're surrounding these like yellow orbs or whatever. And in the game, the skills are going to be on the roots. And as you get blood, the root will kind of like reach a skill. Man, I don't know if I'm explaining this good, but whatever. The skills are going to be on the roots of the skill tree. So these yellow gold, we're not calling it yellow anymore. So these gold orbs represent kind of like the skills. These roots were surprisingly one of the hardest parts of this piece of artwork, because I can't just put roots anywhere or else it'll just get too messy. So I have to like balance it with messiness, but also it kind of looking like there's a frame, right? Like the roots are in, like they're going in and out of the frame of the title, and that's not a very easy thing to do. I went back to this eye and I realized that to match the game, it should actually be yellow, because in the game it's a yellow eye. Also, Felix the goblin, he's got yellow eyes too. So I redrew it as yellow, and I'm trying a couple of different little techniques. You always gotta look at it from far away, because up close it might look cool, but then from far away the detail's lost or something, you know. So I made a yellow and I think it's looking pretty good. And then I meant gold. So I made it gold, and I'm adding the little details around the edges to kind of just make it look more important. If you add details around stuff, it just makes it look more important. Pro tip. I can't wait to animate this in Unity game engine for the start screen. By the way, I'm a video game developer and full-time, and if you want to support me, I've released a game called Dwarf on Steam, and it's basically my livelihood right now, so go and give that game a try. My little puppy is gonna do a spin for you, so you subscribe, right? Look at that. Oh my goodness. Now that deserves a subscribe. A Dev Life. See you guys next week.